First off, let's go ahead and have one of you on this side. So if you go over there. And, okay.
So Rod, I stopped it and then restarted it because
Right.
you're.
That sounds good. Thank you. So, what's the difference between dementia and Alzheimer's? Is dementia Alzheimer's?
No, it is
I've heard it is not.
And so the difference is Alzheimer's is one form of dementia. So when you say, well, they have Alzheimer's, a lot of people will say, well, that person has Alzheimer's. They may not have Alzheimer's. They might have Lewy body disease. They might have Parkinson's related dementia. They might have cardiovascular related dementia. Lots of different types of dementia. And if you think about umbrella, okay, Alzheimer's just is one form of dementia that fits underneath that. It's about 40% of the population that have Alzheimer's. So depending upon the type of dementia that they have, there can be some characteristic differences. For instance, lots of times we may associate with their hearing voices, or they think there's children up in the attic, or things like that. That's more characteristic of a person who has Lewy body dementia. Okay? So, by age 65, 1 out of every 9, 1 out of every 10 individuals in the population have some form of dementia. Every 5 years, you double that. So by the age of 85, it's 1 out of every 2. Another fact, I mentioned this earlier in the meeting, is 70% of the population that has dementia are not in care facilities. They're still in their homes. Hopefully having some good support there, but not necessarily. Is dementia, or I should say, is Alzheimer's reversible?
I don't think so.
No, it's not. It is a progressive brain disease. It basically kills the brain, and it's not reversible, and people die from it. It's not always diagnosed that's what they died of, but that's what they died of. So, also understanding the progression of it, how does dementia affect people? Huh?
Memory loss.
Memory loss. Anything else?
Well, with memory loss comes frustration.
Frustration, so they can get agitated, right? Right?
Loss of independence.
Loss of independence. The reality is, with the progression of this disease, it affects the whole brain. So, they can still hear, but instead of hearing words like what you or I are hearing, what they'll eventually lots of times are hearing is, like on the old Charlie Brown cartoons, being with the teacher, wah 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 wah. That's what they are hearing. Okay? They're picking up the rhythms, but they can't make sense of the words. That's why lots of times with dementia, a patient that has dementia, living with dementia, they will, you start playing some of those old songs, what do? They get right into it and get into the rhythm of it, because they are able to still retain that. So it affects the whole brain, and it also affects their eyesight. Take your hands and put them like this, like goggles, okay? Blinders on the side. As dementia progresses, this is what they're seeing. They're not seeing to the left or to the right. What they're seeing is this little bubble, if you will, of space around them. Then as it goes even more, make goggles. That's what they're seeing. And as it goes even more, close one eye and just look out of the other one, and then make that space even more smaller. That's what they're seeing. Okay? So, you can imagine how that can experience both their interactions with others and what they're receiving. Okay. One other thing I want to share in terms of how we receive information. First off, our primary way of receiving information is sight. Take your hand out like this. Like the artist. You know, what we look at, we focus in on. Secondly, is our hearing. Okay? This is secondary, because when you hear something, what do? You turn to it, right? Thirdly, is sensory motor. With your third finger, just rub across the back of your hand, and based upon what you feel is how you respond to it, okay? Now, if it felt like a spider crawling across there, what would you do? The motor response would be different, right? Fourth response is what we smell through our nose, and fifth, taste. Okay? So what's the first one?
Sight.
Second, hearing. Third, touch. Smell, taste. Okay? Now, as caregivers, our tendency first is to do what? We tend to run off our mouth. Where their primary focus is sight. Secondly, lots of times, if we're caregivers, we're really loving and everything, and we tend to be very touchy-feely.
It's like,
Yeah. And if we do that first without even the previous two, let's go through what's first one, first finger? Sight. Hearing. And then the third one?
feeling.
Lift up that third finger by itself and go with it first. Third finger by itself.
Feeling. Oh, you. I'm so gullible. I definitely go.
Now, we use that because we wonder then why those who are living with dementia, and we go with the touch first, why we get the reaction we do. Okay? So, now the two people that are living with dementia come to